right? The spirit is not property. It is the owner of the property. Property cannot own property. Property is owned by the natural person, the spirit man, the spirit, the original man, the first man in flesh. And the only real sovereign person is the spirit. Nothing else is really a sovereign person. Right? No inanimate object, no manifest matter, right? No artificial person is really a sovereign person, because even an artificial person must be made up of natural persons. The ignorant really believe that this idea of sovereignty is referring to his flesh, which is why he believes that he can sign a piece of paper and his sovereignty can be taken from him. That's flesh. Only flesh can be made property, right? And this is one of the reasons that the holy prophet was divinely prepared to remove our minds from this carnal thinking, this carnal evolutionary thinking, right? This physical thinking. He was divinely prepared, right? But what about him was prepared? Was it his physical body, which was already an image of man being born through a man and a woman? Or was it his spirit, which was divinely prepared by Allah to prepare us to do this job? Just like Jesus through the chambers in Egypt, when he received the name or the symbols of Logo Circle 7, based upon the job that he would fulfill, which is the end. It is finished. It is over. Right? Satan, or that physical part, would be through devouring all that it come across. Right? Now, having a physical body alone doesn't make one an absolute sovereign. Right? As all temporal property, all physical matter is a physical body. Right? A ball, even though it's a physical body. So is all physical bodies make you absolute sovereign? Is that ball an absolute sovereign? No. It is the spirit within man. It is the spirit which must be divinely prepared after the likeness of Allah. Right? Which is why we're Muslims. That's what the whole purpose of the religion of Islam is. Right? Or as Allah is called nature's God, it is the unification religion to realign, to reattune, to become part again of one with your Father God Allah, which is the absolute sovereign over all of existence. Right? Even that part inside you is the absolute sovereign over all existence, called the Lord of the plane of soul and the Lord of the plane of manifest. Right? Allah is also known as the great God of the universe and the Father of the universe because of these titles. All right. Just as the nation in Genesis 1:26-28 through 28 had to be prepared, divinely prepared, just like all the prophets before Prophet Noble Drew Ali had to be divinely prepared, just like the prophet himself had to be divinely prepared, right? In the same way, the Moorish American nation must be prepared by the prophet of Allah through his divine instructions, right? To become after the likeness of Allah, right? No longer just in the image as Asiatics, but in the likeness as Muslims, right? Just like, again, in Genesis 1:26-24. And this is what everything we are doing in the Moorish American nation, right? The Moorish Divine Movement and the Moorish Science of America represents. Becoming yourself, the living image and likeness of Allah, or simply stated in the keys, the human family, right? And as I said at the very beginning of part 1, Allah is the father of the Asiatic race, the divine Asiatic race, right? Because we have a divine origin, right? Now, the human family is Asiatic and Muslim, right? We do not wish to be united in looking alike. And I say that because if you look at all the symbols, it says the unity of Asia or the uniting of Asia. We do not wish to be united in looking alike with other Asiatics, right? We must be united in acting alike. And what kind of actions should we have? Should it be sinful ways and action, or should it be, right, the divine ways that Allah has taught us to be like, to be in the image and after the likeness of Allah? That's where we want unity. We want unity in the likeness of Allah as Muslims, right? That's why in order to be a member of the Moorish Science of America, you must be a Muslim, right? In order to receive the entitlement of Ilim Bay, or the entitlement of faithful, that holy and divine attribute, you must be a Muslim. You must be one striving to live a life, or live the life, right? As we said before, living the life of love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Living the life of Islam. Living the life, Now, and this great missionary work, right, that we're doing here, or that cause, as mentioned in Act 2 and the cover of the Holy Quran of SCFA, is what we're all about. Right? This is why ancient forefathers themselves founded the divine religious creed of Islam. You know, our absolute sovereignty, power and authority as the rulers of the land, described in Genesis again, Genesis 1:28. Right? In Hebrew, it's called Shotan. In Arabic, it's called Sultan. Right? The having the power of authority is called Sultaniya. Right? Now, this Sultaniya, this Sultan, this is, again, living in the image and likeness of our Father, the mighty Allah, as supreme ruler over all creation. But those who do not understand these things also never come to understand why we say that a true Muslim is the strength of Allah made manifest to the nations of the world, also called the sons of men. Right? Just as the Holy Quran of Mecca states that the sun, the moon, the stars, and the earth were all made subservient to man, the living image and likeness of Allah. Right? And why is it so? Huh? Because He is within us. And the creation cannot subdue or enslave the Creator, which is what we're unfolding, the Spirit. Right? We know this because why? Because we are all Muslims. This is, all of this is based upon the personal power of every single individual Asiatic, the true and divine name of our race. In fact, the name Asiatic can be traced back through time to every original nation on this planet, which I will go into later. But every nation on this planet utilized the origin of the word Asiatic is an English word, but it comes from its origin. The origin of every nation on this planet, every original nation, used a term for themselves as a people or a person, right? But like I said, I'll go into that later. Now, but for now, it should be understood as meaning, right? Asiatic should be understood as meaning the omnipresent in man, Allah in man, right? The omnipotent in man, right? The omnipresent substance of Allah, or what is called in the Holy Quran and support the flesh of Allah, the divine in Allah, man, right? The spirit. And Jesus himself proved that the vibrations of the physical body, the manifest body, can be raised, right, by the spirit to a vibration in tune with the spirit, right, and become one. And this is when the will of Allah through man, through the part of man with the spirit, becomes one with the body, and the body loses its own selfish desires and passions and becomes in tune again, realigns with the spirit, and the spirit becomes what it already was, but it manifestly, it becomes the true Lord of the house, the Lord of soul, the Lord of manifest. And when this personal power or this spiritual power is focused through the entire race as one force, one universal force, it is omnipotent, also called all-powerful. When all the powers of man are one, this is the principal foundation of all sovereignty. No single man can be the sole sovereign of everything without the whole race, because we're all sharing it. Right? So the whole race must be behind them. And this is a more understanding on Holy Quran chapter 29. Right? The prince, the great prince that is raised by his equals, the other sons of men, the other nations of the world. Right? Or to the point of omnipotence, or what we call it, the magistrate, right? Which is the highest level, the highest ruler. Now, this same truth is seen in our individual states. We have magistrates, we have presidents, we have governors, right? We have all of these things now. The chief executive officer, right? Well, the state itself represents the omnipotence of absolute power over our lives as sovereign citizens. This means that the state represents our power manifest through a state or through a government structure, and it's us ruling over ourselves. Those that we choose or we elect or we vote to represent us. That's why they're called representatives.